Ryan, hi, how are you?
Hey, it's Gary. How's everybody? Hello.
Hi, Gary,
Hey,
nice to meet you.
Hi there.
Ryan, nice to meet you.
Larry.
Nice to
Robert,
meet you as well.
your video is crystal clear. Robert? We don't hear you. So this is Robert Starkey. I know he has a new setup for Zoom, so we're hoping that he.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but very faintly.
Better now?
Yeah, better.
Heard him.
And is this actually the chief or is it someone logging in as the chief?
I'm here.
Oh, hi. Nice
How are
of you
you?
to join us. I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. So is your swearing in still tonight?
So we were supposed to have the award ceremony
Yeah,
tonight, but
that's
because
right.
of the new restrictions,
Yeah.
and then, restriction on mass gatherings, we decided to hold off until we can all be together again.
Okay. Yeah, I had planned on zipping out of this meeting and running over to the courthouse. And then once this outbreak started from last week, I was gonna get in touch with you and say, I don't think I feel safe. But
Right. No, I agree. So we're hoping now, I guess, in the new year.
yeah.
Am I on mute? Could you unmute me?
Michael Starr, is that who's? I don't know who's speaking.
Am I here? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, good. Hi, I'm Michael Starr. I don't have my video on because I'm driving,
Oh, okay.
listening, and I'm ready. I mentioned that to Kelly, and I mentioned
Yes.
listening. I looked at the agenda, so I guess I'm all set.
Okay, great.
I'm on the, as you guys can see, I'm
Wow.
on the train. So I'm gonna mute, so you don't have interruptions from the announcements on the train.
Okay. We need to have 4 people on audio and video to have a quorum and satisfy the open meetings law. So I'm just checking. We have Ryan, Gary, Robert, and Michael Starr doesn't count until he's on video, unfortunately. And, I would, for those of you who are new to this, this is a state open meetings law. And I really do feel like we have to be a stickler about this because the village has been sued over not adhering to the letter of the law. And the thousands of dollars we've spent in legal fees, I just don't want to open us up to that all over again.
Well, that's fine. I can stay on video for the entire
Great.
meeting. I
Great.
just don't, I would just be muted. Do I have to be audio? Does that affect audio or no, just video?
We need to have your audio as well.
Okay, so there might be some background noise. Just be prepared for that.
Yeah, thank you.
I could be on video. I just can't. What are you doing?
That's
I
Michael.
could be on. Yeah, I could be on video if you want. I just can't really look at the screen.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
If you want me to.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great because until
Okay.
right now, we still don't have a 4th. We only have 3 people on audio and video so far.
Oh, look at that.
Thank you. It is what it is. Thank you and nice to meet you, Michael.
Oh, you too.
And welcome home to your daughter.
Oh, say hello.
Hi. Hi, welcome to the traffic meeting. I know you're coming home from college, so.
Yeah.
My kids are a little behind you, but it's like the best to have you home. Okay. Roberts, and we are also, I want everyone to know that Dan Sarnoff has joined us tonight. He is the assistant village manager. For those of you who don't know, we are extraordinarily fortunate to have him. Typically, well, this fall we haven't had village staff because they've been extraordinarily busy with Ida most recently, but thank you, Dan, for joining us. Okay, and oh, sure. And Robert Stark has graciously agreed to chair our meeting tonight. He has been on the traffic committee for is it just 1 year or has it been 1 year? So he knows how we operate. So I will hand it over to Robert.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome all you new guys. As we go through the agenda, I assume everybody has copies of the agenda in front of them. Okay. You'll see that the agenda is divided into new business and old business. We'll start with the new business. There are 10 items. These are items that people, residents have written to the Board of Traffic, talking about traffic issues, safety issues that we need to address. As you get the agenda for the upcoming meeting, hopefully you'll have a chance to visit those particular sites and intersections and get a sense of what the problems are and consider resolutions and solutions to them. Anybody have any questions about what we're going to do or about anything at all about the traffic commission, what we're supposed to do, what we're
Yeah, I went, yeah, Michael Starr, I went through the agenda background. There's like 47 pages. Is that like common
okay. Let
to
me
read
explain that.
47 pages and prepare for this meeting? I couldn't get through all of it.
Let me explain. That agenda included many of the emails that were sent to the Board of Traffic from residents. Ordinarily, that's not part of the agenda. The agenda is the first page that lists new business and old business. The other pages are providing more backup, more information for those specific intersections and locations and describe the problems that residents feel need to be addressed. So in terms of, so hopefully you'll have a chance to read those, back up to get more information. The agendas are very terse and don't really describe in detail the problems at those locations. Is
So-
everybody go through the 10 new business items or any other questions about our procedure, about anything?
Well, I have one more question, then I'll just like listen. So if we need to address all those like 10, 15 traffic incidences and requests, I don't see how we would do that in like an hour and a half meeting where I guess it gets done.
Some don't get addressed for various reasons. We request that people who notify us of issues at different locations either participate in some way, either call in for Zoom meetings or attend our personal sessions, answer questions we may have about their issues at those locations. I'm not aware if anyone has called in to answer questions or participate. They really don't take very long, and if there are intersections or locations that we can't solve, we're not expected to solve every problem at a particular meeting. Some issues go on over multiple meetings. More often than not, we gather information and request further information either from the police department, or traffic consultant, or just request more information in order to make a determination as to how we should proceed and what the village and at that location.
Okay, thank you. I understand.
Any other questions? Okay, then I'll start with the first item on the business, which is Carroll Avenue. So you'll see it's the Carroll Avenue traffic signage. Doesn't say very much. But basically, this is a request for someone thinks that that street needs more signage. And what they said was that Carroll Avenue is a one-way street at one point. It's two-way and then it's one-way. And the person who submitted this said that there's a one-way traffic sign. He doesn't believe that's enough. And then requires more identifiable signage in order to make that a safer street. Has everybody been to that location?
Yes.
Anybody have any comments about that location or any comments? Did you identify any issues or difficulties there?
So that's the turn, that would be the people are turning against traffic from Halsted onto Carroll Avenue, and that there needs to be additional signage indicating that that's a one-way street. Is that it?
I think it's on Carroll Avenue where it becomes where it stops being two-way traffic. It's the additional signage is requested for people who try to continue on Carroll from Lorena towards Post.
What I need to speak.
Yeah,
Nice.
what,
I read it differently. I thought it's when you're going up Boston Post Road, heading south, and you're making the right onto Carroll Avenue, and then you detour it away.
No,
Yeah, I
so
thought you
my understanding is when you come off of Falstead Avenue and you drive down Carroll, it's a two-way street up until you get to, I believe it's Lorena.
Okay.
yeah,
And then it stops there where then it's a one-way coming from the Post Road to
what
Lorena.
might help, I can share
Right.
the street image in Zoom. So let me know when you see this.
Thanks, Dan. I think the confusion stems from the email because the email says when you're coming from Boston Post Road.
Yeah.
So I think,
Exactly. That's what I read.
yeah.
I mean, that's the way I read it too, but it didn't make
sense.
Unless
Right.
this is the way that makes sense, is 'cause this is where the two-way traffic ends.
Correct.
I mean, there's already a do not enter sign.
Well,
I maybe match it with another. Actually,
there's-
two do not
there's-
enter- do not enter
right.
signs.
So there's two there already. So the only thing that I could think is maybe putting something on the pavement that says do not enter or one way or something like that. I don't think any more signage is going to help because we already have two do not enters there.
I mean, unless you know, unless somewhere.
But what about putting signage at the beginning of Halsted Avenue saying, one-way traffic ahead or something at Halsted?
I don't know if that's something that's in the manual of uniform traffic control devices. That's the book that we use to, like, that tells you what the appropriate signage is. Plus,
I
I think you also have multiple turns off Carroll between Halsted and Lorena. I think I have to check the map though.
Dan, maybe the only other thing we can do is maybe put up a sign where we have the movable yield to pedestrian signs. We can put maybe like a one-way and put it to one side of the road.
I mean, I could also look to see if we can put like more retro reflect, like those, the green background, if that's something that's allowed in the MUTCD, maybe make these signs pop more.
Right.
But that, I mean, that's what I can, see if that's something that's feasible.
It's just one block. Lorraine doesn't cross. It's just when you make the right on Halsted, to Carroll, it's just one straight block
Okay.
down. There's no cross street until you get to the sign, really.
I mean, I'll check to see if that's something valid. I don't know. But the two things we can look at are advanced warning signage, and then if there's anything we can do to make the signs more apparent to the public. I mean, I don't know how, what the number of people who are going through this intersection. That as residents tend to, heighten what they see sometimes. But I can certainly check on the signage.
The only other thing I would say, which I don't recall, so at the corner you have the beverage center that's there.
Yeah.
So there is an exit onto Carroll. I don't know if there's any signage that says no left turn So I don't know if people are coming out and making a left to go to the post road, because then that would be going the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that's what, let's see, no, wait, this is a couple years ago. I can't see there's any signage on the back of this.
Right,
You know, the complaint came from, or the comment came from the owner of 125. So this would be well before his home.
correct.
Does anybody know when that street converted to the one-way? How long ago that was? Just
Oh,
curious.
a long, I mean, my kids went to school there like 20 years ago, and it was still there, so a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I can
Okay.
check in the code. Sometimes the code, because that's done by resolution, or maybe in local law of the board, and it may have the date when it was done in the actual code. But I don't know that. I don't know if that's the case or not.
Does anybody have any more comments about Carroll Avenue? The question?
Well, I just think that because there's, the school is there, I would be in favor of anything that would be better for safety. I mean, my kids went to that school, and aside from the one-way issue there, I used to witness a lot of speeding on that street. So I think we need to take a serious look at that, being that there's an elementary school there.
Well, are we supposed to deter people from going down that street, down Carroll Avenue? What's the purpose?
Yeah, I mean, well, as far as there's nothing regulatory that needs to be done at this point. Again, my reading of the letter was asking for additional signage or something. The one-way restriction is already in place. It's just, trying to find a better way to educate drivers or increase enforcement of it. So there's no regulatory issue at play here.
Maybe the only other suggestion would be where that white car is parked, maybe have no parking in that area.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that, again, you have a tree here too, if that's grown out. Yeah, we can take a look at it.
Someone's in a car.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because in the previous shot that a Cherokee, I think, was parked there. And so if you're looking at an SUV and you're in a vehicle coming off of Lorena,
So you have a one-way
your
sign.
eye might not pick that up, that one way.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of,
Yeah.
If there was the do not block the box type of thing, if there was a box here, this would be blocking it.
Mhm.
How are we going to?
Yeah, that car is basically parked right across from right at the dead end, basically.
Right. So maybe no parking between signs, and put up, a sign there between the driveway and the corner.
Yeah.
Who is going to follow up on these suggestions? And should we put this over until next meeting, make some final determinations about?
I can follow up on this item. It's like I said, it's not a regulatory item, so there's no official action needed. Just more of looking at ways to better enforce and educate.
Who will respond to the residents? I believe that was Norman, who brought this to our attention. What are we going to tell him? Who will correspond and notify him?
What I think in the past that the traffic commission had been responding to the residents.
Ellie, what do we do?
Whoever would like to write an email, it's always nice if someone from the commission can write to the person who brought it to our attention and explain what happened. It's unfortunate that, oftentimes the people who write us can't be in attendance at the meeting. So I know Shannon Purdy used to write people. She was the chair. I don't know if you feel like doing that, Robert. You're taking on a lot tonight anyway. But if someone from the commission would would follow up with residents, that's great. It's not required of us, but I think it's a courtesy that's a nice tradition to follow.
Any volunteers?
I could do it.
Great. Good.
Thanks,
You
Brian.
You have the original letter from Mr. Rosenbaum with how to contact him, his name and address.
I believe
should
it's in the email.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's listed in the email.
Yeah, his address is 125 Carroll Avenue.
I'm sorry, could I have the name of the person who said he would volunteer?
Brian Williams.
Great, thank you, Brian. All right, should we go to number 2? Let's go to number 2. Hoyt and Marinex Avenue. There was a question of the pedestrian crosswalk and the request that they be repainted. My observation is that there are 2 very visible, clear crosswalks painted across the Marinex Avenue, both at the underpass and further up the Marinex Avenue at the beginning of the commercial street. There were no crosswalks painted across those 2 side streets. Actually, there are 3 side streets. My question is to traffic person and to the chief, do we need crosswalks painted on the 3 side streets across the street?
If I could jump in here, Robert.
Sure.
Yeah, this is a matter that's being addressed right now by our traffic consultant, who is an expert, Matt Carmody. This was discussed at length at the Board of Trustees work session on Monday. I don't know if any of you had tuned in, or I didn't see any of you in attendance, but I might have missed you. And I just highly recommend that you go and watch the tape of that discussion. This is it's a county road. It's going to be repaved. Unfortunately, we did have a fatality in that area and a pedestrian who was hit. So this is an area of a lot of heightened attention. And I know that you're talking about Hoyt specifically, but we're looking at that entire area in general. And the traffic consultant gave us a lot of ideas. There was a long discussion, and I would just suggest that everyone look at that because anything that we would discuss here, I would refer you to that discussion.
Just to buttress
If I
that.
can make it, Dan, I'm sorry, if I can make a comment, I did watch that, and Kelly, I would request that in the future, when your traffic consultant speaks to the Board of Trustees, or there are some traffic information that will be at a meeting, that you notify us.
I did, Robert. I did. I gave you all a heads up.
I'm sorry, I did see it, and I do recommend that people watch it.
I'm sorry you didn't see it, but yeah, it was good. And I had sent that information in an email ahead of time.
Okay, I apologize.
Yep.
Just a couple of items. They will be, the county will be doing some pothole filling work, essentially, I believe beginning tomorrow and Friday, before the plants close for the winter. And, at that intersection, we do have signals, and the chief has deployed a crossing guard there for many years.
Right, and I believe the crosswalks at the area were repainted, but now with this work they're going to be doing, they haven't made a decision yet whether they're going to completely repaint them again, or they might wait till the project is complete in the spring.
Question for Kelly. So
Yeah.
are Carroll Avenue and Hoyt and Marinex moving to old business? Here
Yes. I would put it on old business with a notation that this is being addressed by the Board of Trustees and the traffic consultant, that it's a pending matter there.
Okay. Moving to number 3, Fenimore Road crosswalk. This is another request for a more visible crosswalk. I looked at that location, and there is a 3-way crosswalk in place there. And there's also a sign in the street warning cars about children crossing. So I don't know if there's anything more that we need to do there. It seems to have been resolved. Any comments?
Yeah, other than, we'll touch it up when it's necessary. It is one of the machines that we lost during the flood. So it's, we're a little bit behind on crosswalks for that reason.
No, the crosswalk seems to have been done.
So about a month ago, they did repaint several crosswalks. I believe that might have been one of them. But there is a sign also in the middle of the street, and we do have a crossing guard assigned to that area.
So is that going to old business?
I don't know if you want old business, you're gonna see again. So there may be things that you close.
Okay, so Kelly, you and I may have some conversations while I'm doing the minutes of how to navigate business going forward. Is that all right?
Okay, well, I mean, that won't be something for the minutes. It's something for the board to decide. Do they want to close it or do they want to talk about it again in the future?
When you say the board, do you mean the board of trustees or the board?
No, the Board of Traffic Commissioners, the Board of Traffic Commissioners.
Well, how are we going to decide? Do we
Well,
decide-
you discuss it and decide whether you'd like to
No,
do
I'm-
some
I'm-
follow-up work and put it forward to the next meeting, or whether, you've reached a conclusion and don't need to discuss this anymore. It's up to you.
I just have a question. So
Anybody have a
there-
comment or
this-
question?
I have a question on, so Jordana Brennan is saying that that ideally there would be a sign in the middle of the road. And we have one thought that I think there is a sign there that says yield
Yeah.
or stop when it's occupied. And then Daniel, you're saying that you think that was one of the,
No, I think for the painting, I don't know if we did that in-house or if we contracted out for that, or I'm thinking of a different machine that we may have lost. But we do have those stop for pedestrian signs. Given that they're in the middle of a road, they are apt to be hit and knocked over. So, but we do have those signs and we put them out there.
is there a sign there currently?
I believe
Yeah.
there is.
I think there is too.
Yeah,
Yes, there is,
Well-
for sure.
Small sign
yeah.
in the middle of the street.
I mean, I see this, this
The temporary
this was
sign.
sent on
September
February
17th.
September 17th, which was 2 weeks after Ida. Our public works crew were otherwise occupied. If the sign wasn't there, there may be a reason why. We were basically nonstop for September and October. So, but I believe everything is back to normal over there.
I can write a response to this one, an email to Jordana Brennan,
Who's speaking?
Ryan Buck.
Okay.
And is the protocol to copy somebody on that email? Robert, or who, is there anyone that we should copy?
You can copy the Board of Traffic and copy Kelly.
Say that again, Robert.
Copy the Board of Traffic email. I don't know if you guys are on there, Kelly. Can you tell us whether everyone is now part of the,
No, no one is attending. There are no attendees.
no.
Are you asking about the distribution
Who
list,
consists of the
Robert?
Board of Traffic email, does that include the new members? Yes or not?
I don't know. I don't know when they set that up. I think that for now, they're still using personal email addresses, not the village email addresses that you'll set up, or that you may have already set up, Robert. I don't know if the macro has been set up yet. Do you know that, Dan?
I think Sally may have been working with Cliff, who's our
Yeah.
director, this week. And then, but I've been working from home the last 2 days, so I don't know if that's been done yet.
Yeah. I'd say it's in progress.
Dan, is there, are you gonna share the screen the entire time?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that I was sharing.
I gotta jump in for a moment. Just a housekeeping thing. Could I turn my video off for a few minutes? I just got into my house.
Oh, yeah, sure. Just do your technical, yeah. Adjust-
Okay, and Robert, and I have to say, Robert, when you speak, it's muffled on my end. I don't know.
It is on mine too.
Okay, so it's hard for me to understand. I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah.
Okay, video off.
I'm going to try to call in by phone. Kelly, I'm calling in by phone. Can you connect me? It's 575-9280.
You haven't appeared yet? It hasn't shown up yet?
Hold on. Oh, shit. Kelly, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I see. Okay, wait a minute. Let me try to, I see that your phone call has come in. Let me promote that or,
I hear you on the phone.
yeah, okay. I'm talking is permitted now, but it looks like you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
It's the same as it was.
Robert, in the lower left-hand corner where the picture of the microphone is, are you on a phone or are you on a computer?
He's trying to be on both, Dan,
Okay.
and I'm not sure that's going to work without having feedback problems,
Well,
but
no, I wonder if it's an issue where you can, on his primary setup, you have to select a microphone option.
mhm.
I wonder if he's using the microphone from his headphones or the microphone from his device.
I
That's,
don't know.
Yeah.
Am I able to go off video now? I just got off the train. I'm gonna be jumping in my car. Do you still need me on video?
Now do what you need to do. Pop back on when you can.
Okay, I'll come
When we-
back.
Yeah, if we get sued, we'll explain what's
Just-
going on.
just-
Don't worry.
Okay, just call me back if you need me.
Okay,
I'm taking everything in.
all right. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We have a quorum still, so we're all right. Did we lose Robert altogether?
No, he's still
No.
listed as an attendee on his cell phone. I just needs to be promoted or given permission to speak. I don't know how that,
I'm trying to connect on the phone.
Talking or it says that you're muted. It says ask you to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
It's the same.
I think it's just *6. *9, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Same.
Robert, can you try *9 on your phone? So
I don't know
*6,
what to do.
toggle mute, unmute *9.
I
Raise
pressed
hand.
*9.
And then it says raise hand. Oh, he's in there, so
Yeah. I just don't know. We're not getting the audio part of it.
Robert, did you try *9 on the phone?
I did. I pressed *9 a million times.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I think you sound okay, Robert. I know I mean, I think you're a little soft, but maybe if you can just try to speak right into that microphone on your headset. I think when you're a little bit closer, we can hear you better.
Thank you,
That
Ryan.
better?
I think that's right.
Is that better?
Yeah, just like, like maybe just hold it when you're talking. I mean, do you have the inline mic, and just if you hold that a little bit closer, maybe.
I have a tablet. I have no idea where the mic is.
Oh, okay. No, I think
Better?
I think it's one of those things that it's as good as it's gonna get.
Should we go forward?
That would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I think that'd be great, Robert. I hesitate to mention that you're upside down, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all right. Probably look better this way. Next is Tompkins and Spruce. Did we just do that? No, Tompkins and Spruce Street. Request for a crosswalk. They're requesting a more visible crosswalk.
I did,
I was there, they do need to repaint the crosswalk across First Street.
I can talk with our traffic, actually, I have talked with our traffic engineer on this item. And we can look at it in the spring when we do painting again.
The question is there, should there be a crosswalk from across Tompkins?
The way I read this, it was a crosswalk across Spruce.
That's correct.
Yeah. I mean, well, in the short term, it's not, I don't think it's necessary right now, because I don't know if there's a sidewalk on the other side, but still, with the Tompkins Avenue Bridge shut down for the foreseeable future, there's not a lot of traffic going past Spruce.
Right.
But there is traffic going down Tompkins onto Spruce.
Well, Spruce is
And
a
from
one-way
Spruce on
street coming
Tompkins.
from Boston Post Road. So there's only one or two properties beyond the intersection. If that. So
So what's the next step here?
So I will, look at this with DPW in the spring for painting. The crosswalk across Spruce, not crossing Tompkins.
Okay. Next is Mount Pleasant and Stanley Avenue. Everybody know where that is, and have you looked at that location? You're looking for a crosswalk across across Mount Pleasant and Stanley. There is no crosswalk.
Yeah, I live near there. I'm back on, and I bike there, and I have to get off my bike just to cross that area. And there's, the cars are coming fast from the post office area. Something needs to be there. Yeah, I think.
I agree. It's a route that I take regularly, and to slow everyone down and make it safer for pedestrians. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, you can't cross there. You have to stay on the sidewalk until the end of Mount Pleasant, then cross the next light. So.
Dan, will you follow up on that?
Yeah, I'll look into it.
I agree. I agree with everybody as well with that there. I'm familiar with that intersection.
Anybody want to volunteer to notify the person that brought that to our attention?
If I could just suggest, if this is something that Dan Sarnoff is looking into, we don't really have information to provide the applicant at this point, or the person who brought it to our attention. And so I would just suggest that we get back to them once it's been resolved.
This actually plays a little bit into the whole intersection over at Marinex and Mount Pleasant, which is something we've been working on for many years now, and we may finally be making some headway with Westchester County. Yeah, we talked about, I don't know if you saw that discussion on Monday night, Robert, about the Mount Pleasant Marinex intersection.
All right. Are we going forward to our next location? Anybody have any further comments about Mount Pleasant? Okay, Rockford Avenue. I'm very familiar with this. It's right around the corner from where I live. People are complaining that it's a dangerous walk. It's a small stretch of Rockford Avenue from the entrance to a parking lot at Palmer Terrace.
Hey, Robert, you've gotten really garbled again. It's hard to hear you.
Rockland Avenue.
Better.
It's a small street, maybe 50 feet, very curved. There are no sidewalks. It's a narrow roadway. There's gravel. It's curved. And I can testify that it's a dangerous, unsafe location. This has been brought up and discussed previously. I think we decided that we would not put sidewalks there. I'm not sure.
Hey, you're getting garbled again. I wonder if it's rubbing on your sweater.
Rubbing on my sweater.
I don't know. It's
Maybe on your headset. On your headset, do you have a microphone, a little microphone on your headphones, like midway down? Like, is there a little box?
I have a cheap headset.
It's I bet that's, but I think it sounds good when you lift it up a little bit. I think there might be a microphone that's picking up on your headset, maybe, no? I always use the cheap headphones too. I don't go for the fancy ones.
Is this better?
Well, you have to say a sentence.
I took the headset off. Is this better?
Thanks.
no, I think it might be about the same, but
Are you using a phone or an iPad, Robert? Do you have a stand or something that you can put it on, or?
This is very frustrating.
Well, at least you're not upside down anymore.
that is a plus.
Dan, could you maybe share your screen of that area?
Yeah, let me pull it up. I've looked at this in the past. It's really, this is a vestige of like an 80, 90-year-old issue.
Right.
Which is,
I know the westbound side would be a challenge because there are some driveways there.
well, I mean,
Put a sidewalk would be difficult.
yeah, I mean, this section of Rockland was moved by Metro, or I guess it was Penn Central back then. Because that's where the, you know, let's see. Okay, can everyone see it?
Yes.
So I think one of the issues, well, first of all, so, way back this was Rockland Avenue. It crossed over when they put the overpass over the rail line, they moved this Rockland Avenue. So this is, I think, technically still a public road. One of the issues you have is if you were to build a sidewalk in this area, you'd have to shift the road over, and I think there might be taking a property to reformat everything. I think, is that what the question was about? That's kind of the way I interpreted it.
Well, they talked about the area there and about the bushes being overgrown, the gravel, no
Yeah,
sidewalk.
we can, I can work with Public Works to just, clean up as best we can. But, putting it, it's not going to be a good location for a sidewalk, given
Right.
some of the existing constraints. It's really strange because this property owner, this home, he actually owns this. If you look at his survey, our road goes through his property. He actually, that's another thing. The portion of this is owned by this home. It's
Right.
a very bizarre piece of property. So this might actually be his responsibility to maintain. I think was it just 516 Rockland? Let me I remember having a copy of it at one point. I don't see it, but yeah, this road goes through this guy's property. So it might actually be his responsibility to maintain that. So there's a little bit of a legal question there.
And is there any way, Daniel, to use that, the old existing public road to create some type of egress? I've never actually, I've walked down Rockland before, and it's a very unpleasant walk when you're trying to get to the trail.
This just dead ends at the tracks.
Okay.
Sorry, if are anyone familiar with Union Avenue in town of Harrison? Runs
Yes.
adjacent to the river, or runs adjacent to kind of Marinex Avenue, where Union Avenue goes over. If you go to Union Avenue, you'll see the same exact look, except in Union Avenue, we'll see on the other side of 95 is a continuation of a dirt road just like this. But this just ends at dead ends at the railroad tracks, Ryan.
I can't picture where the school is, so that the problem is it's with student kids walking to school with their parents or on their own.
Okay, so
Marinex a little further down where the arrow is.
yeah, I'll take you on a quick. We'll go on a quick ride.
Don't get me dizzy.
Here's Robert staring at us. These are the Palmer Avenue, Palmer Court.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's Sarah Newman right here. Usually this goes faster. So this is Palmer Avenue, this is crossover Rockland. Okay, so here's the Marinex Town Center on the right, and there's that, you can cut through here, but the high school is, here's the
Right.
town center, the high school is behind it.
It looks like a 3/4 of a mile walk from that original house, right? It's a long walk. Unless I'm off.
Well, what, I think the
From the-
Marinex
Yeah.
doesn't bus within, what, 1.5 miles?
You know what I say? House that needs to be where is the problem when they need to trim back the tree. From that point to the high school seems like it's a bit of a walk.
Well, I mean, you have a number of students who are going to be walking from the town of Marinex. For a couple from the village of Marinex, but mostly that is a walking. The people coming from that area are coming from the town of Marinex. Village of Marinex residents would be those on Rockland, Harmon,
Baldwin.
And Hickory Grove, the 4 or 5 residents, and Revere. So I mean, but there's going to be school pedestrians who are coming from that area. No question.
So Dan, I think the question is more so is, like you said, is it the homeowner's property to trim back the bushes there and do something on the ground, or can DPW do it?
I'll have to discuss that with legal because it's
Right.
it's been a while since I looked at the survey, but it's an interesting, it's something I've never seen before where a public road goes through someone's property
Right.
and bisects it. So
Yeah.
I can follow up with legal about the responsibility of maintenance, and we can follow up from there. If it's a village item, we'll follow up. If it's a homeowner item, I'll ask code enforcement to follow up.
Daniel, can you just keep going back? Because I think what's interesting,
Back towards-
I walked this, several times, and I won't say often, but I've walked it a number of times where, this feels very much like you're in a well-planned, accessible area, great sidewalk all along, and you have a high density around here, so people are moving around all the time. And then you see a child even crossing the street, and then look, it just degrades into this dirt trail on the left, and then it becomes this very unsafe zone where you have a blind spot on your left coming out of that street, and then it's like you don't know where to go, and traffic is whizzing by.
You do have sidewalk. It's this is kind of like the one section without a sidewalk, because you do have sidewalks here. The sidewalks continue up.
Yeah, so there's like this break and the continuity there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even just painting a line down the road there. If they can't put a sidewalk in, maybe put some kind of a line or some markings or something.
Yeah, share the road kind of thing.
Right, something like that, exactly, like a bike path type of lane.
Like Sharrows.
So just for that, between the area from the bridge to basically across from 516, it's only that one little area that doesn't have sidewalks and things like that. So at least it's just to delineate where people can walk, I think would be helpful.
So you have a sidewalk here. Yeah, it literally is just
Right. So just past where that silver car, bluish car is from there, this area right there, sure.
Yeah, see by where this
Yep.
where this truck is, that's where the sidewalk ends.
Right.
We could, we're allowing parking over there. I mean, that's something that we would look at is, should we prohibit parking during certain times of the day, or, but, I don't know how, this person doesn't have, looks like they don't have a driveway. This person has a driveway. I don't know if it's single family or multifamily. It's really that one house that, it's this one property that seems to be without a sidewalk. And then once you get past that, you have the issue up here. Listen, let me talk to legal about this and the maintenance responsibility. Because it's an interesting conundrum.
Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
Can people hear me? Is it
Yes.
worthwhile me speaking?
Yes,
Yes?
yes, can hear you, yes.
Okay.
Yes, very well.
Robert,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I noticed that Richard Littman has shown up, and I think you told him that we would be addressing his issue tonight. I've forwarded an email from him that I received yesterday afternoon, and so this is actually an item for the January agenda. Okay, so I just want Richard to have a heads up that I don't want him to wait around all night unless he's welcome to, but we're not going to be reaching the issue that he wrote to us about tonight. It'll be in January, okay? Sorry for the interruption. Go ahead, Robert.
What's the next step for Rockford Avenue? I'm not sure where we are here.
I wrote down that Dan's going to talk to legal and figure out what the maintenance responsibilities are, and if there is anything we can do legally. It doesn't sound like the village has a right of way there.
It's a very, I live right there. It's a very unsafe, short area, extremely unsafe for
Yeah.
pedestrians and vehicles.
Mhm.
7 is Taylor's Lane. That's down Boston Post Road, towards East Boston Post Road. Everybody have a chance to look there. The problem is it's unsafe for kids walking down Taylor's Lane, going to school. There's no sidewalk. The bushes are very thick at the intersection of Boston Post Road and Taylor's Lane for cars to see children and children to see cars. They're requesting a walkway and perhaps a bike path, and perhaps to close off the entrance to the gas station. So the main issue is children walking to and from school at that location. Anybody have any comments or suggestions?
Let me, I'll pull it up on the screen for everyone, for if you take a look.
So I think it was discussed prior, and I guess my question was, what would be the feasibility of putting a sidewalk on the east side of the street there?
There was a speed device that was put there to monitor cars going up and down the street.
Right, so the results were there wasn't an excessive amount of vehicles that were speeding. The issue there too is it is a dead end road. So anyone who's speeding, for the most part, are residents, that are living in that area. So the question again was where Dan is showing about trying to put a sidewalk on that side of the street.
I mean, you already have it's a very wide grassy area, more than enough room for anyone to walk on.
Correct.
Then you get up here. I mean, if this, if this jungle is the issue, we can certainly take a look at it and see what we can do to cut that back. Let me just see if that's we can, I think is this kind of more the concern, just the visual obstruction? Because I think, you know, once you pull out, you do have a pretty wide field of view
Mhm.
when you're at the stop sign. I mean, I don't imagine there's much of a traffic history over there.
Right.
I think you do have a, so we can look at cutting back what we need to cut back. I don't think there's, you know, sidewalks on Boston Post Road. You have a fairly large grassy walking area over here.
The entrance to the gas station or the exit,
Yeah.
that's a concern of cars. If you see that cars coming out from there, you don't have visibility to cars coming down Taylor towards Boston Post Road.
So
I think I think what causes some of the issue there from personal experience in the morning is you have a little bit of a merge. You have traffic coming out of the Parkway, coming down the Post Road, merging in front of that gas station. So if you've got kids walking down Taylor's Lane, when they get to the Post Road, sometimes you've got that issue of cars coming together, getting in the car line and coming from two separate, you know, areas into one. I don't know how much I believe the issue is the exit and entrance to the gas station on Taylor's. More so, it's just how the traffic flows at the corner of Taylor's and the Parkway. That would be my opinion there.
So I don't know, Richard, are you able to see the screen or are you on the phone? I think this is the general area Mr. Littman is referring to based on what I'm hearing.
I believe part of his concern was cars exiting and entering the gas station lot on the Taylor's Lane Street versus coming in and off of the Post Road. They wanted to block off that section there on Taylor's Lane so that people could only enter and exit from the Post Road itself. I believe that was what was indicated in the letter.
That was my understanding also.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like, you know, there are curb cuts.
Correct.
I don't know if this is, you know, if this is like, was there from a time pre-existing the requirement for a site plan? I don't know what the options would be for us to tell them they can't use that for entrances and exits.
Right. Or even the vehicle that's parked on the apron there. I don't know if we'd be able to tell them not to park there.
I mean, we've had that issue with some of the places on Waverly, not Waverly,
On
Fenimore.
Hoyt.
Yeah, I remember we used to have that issue with the driving school on Waverly.
Yes.
And, you know, the state law is you cannot block a sidewalk irrespective of whether it's public or private.
Right.
Or you can't park on a sidewalk irrespective of whether it's public or private. I don't know if this is classically a sidewalk. I think this is just, you know, the concrete coverings of where their fuel tanks are. I think this is, yeah, I think I'm going to go on a limb and say their fuel tanks are under this concrete patches. So I don't know if it would be classified as a sidewalk.
That is where the fuel tanks are, because I've been there early in the morning and seen the trucks filling up over there.
Perhaps we can have a internal conversation about that, but can this be defined as a sidewalk is the issue. I don't know if we can arrive at that conclusion.
Right.
I'm gonna stop sharing now.
All right, so let's say it requires further discussion. We'll continue
Yeah.
at our next meeting.
Mhm.
For solution. Everyone okay with that?
That's fine with me. I'm fine with that.
That sounds good.
Next is the Marinex Community Nursery School. I believe that's located Boston Post Road by the Nautilus, by the Marinex Diner. They're concerned about safe crossing for children. Anybody have any comments?
Stop signs at a crosswalk usually aren't warranted because it's not an intersection. You have stop signs at intersections. I mean, don't we also have that mobile pedestrian sign there, Chief? Or I think we have signs on the trees pointing to the crosswalk which say stop for pedestrians.
We're talking about the one on Tompkins?
Because we wouldn't put a stop sign on, well, we can't put a stop sign on Post Road.
No.
Yeah. Because
Maybe I have the wrong location for that.
well, no, this is,
Hey, everyone, I need to sign off. So, Dan, are you a host as well as a panelist?
you can make me the host.
How do I do that?
I think you just have to right click or,
I got it. Yep, I got it. Okay, you're it.
okay,
Tag, you're it.
okay.
Feel better. I'm sorry you're working from home.
That's,
All right. Thank you, everyone. Stay in touch
Thanks, Kelly.
and enjoy the
Thank you.
holidays. Enjoy
Have
the
a nice
holidays.
evening.
You
All
too.
this.
Thank you.
it says we have any speeders driving down Tompkins Avenue, leaving or passing around cars, allowing families to cross. I mean, that's the only,
Right, so there is a crosswalk there
Yeah.
at Melbourne and Tompkins. I don't know if there's a pedestrian sign there, but there is a crosswalk.
trying to get there right now. Yeah, let me, I'm going to share this screen with the commission. Okay, so this is Tompkins, this is Melbourne, and we have this stop here for pedestrians.
Right,
Yeah. So we do have a warning. I mean, stop signs are meant to be, used at areas where there are significant, traffic history or, site visibility issues. I don't know if we have that over here. I think we probably don't have it over here. There's a stop sign on Melbourne. You can see that right here.
Dan, what about on the opposite pole? Is there a stop for pedestrians on that opposite pole as well?
Yep. So yeah, we have it right there.
Right, so I mean, I don't know if there's anything else that we can do with that. We can't put a sign in the middle of the road. I think if the road is too narrow to put something in the middle.
Yeah. So we do have a lot of warning signage out there. I don't think that there's been any sort of accident history out there. And, that the other thing is, the stop sign, a stop sign in, there is, I don't believe it's warranted. I mean, it's going to be in effect 24/7 when there's, not necessarily a lot of need for it.
You're saying put the stop sign in front of the crosswalk, like 15 feet away?
Or maybe they're asking us to put a stop sign at the Tompkins Melbourne intersection,
Hmm.
Yeah,
but
instead of a,
Oh,
like an
going the other
actual
way.
stop sign.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, I don't know if anyone, currently on the board has heard me speak about stop signs, but, the overwhelming evidence is that stop signs do not slow down traffic. What stop signs do is it'll slow people down in the vicinity of a sign, but they're back up to full speed in 150 feet. And then oftentimes when drivers feel like they're stopping for no reason, they will actually accelerate and go faster. So, but we do have a lot of signs out there already.
Is there a way to do another sign, since this is an area that's frequented by children and families and this type of thing? Is there a way to put another type of signal that's part of the manual that says that this is a school
So
area?
Dan, they have the yellow yield to pedestrians, the one that's over on like Prospect and Maple, the bright yellow ones. Maybe instead of the signs there, we could put up the brighter yellow signs.
Yeah, we could also possibly look at children at play, because you do actually have a playground here.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you do have, so it would be an additional emphasis on what's in the area. And that's the other thing about with children at play signs, they should be located near playgrounds or schools, places in a residential neighborhood where you wouldn't necessarily think you'd have a very large congregation of children.
Right.
So
Right.
we could look at some additional signage over there.
Yeah, I like that yellow sign idea that the chief
Yeah.
referenced, because I look at that sign that's up there right now, the stop here for pedestrians. That just strikes me as one that seems less somehow less visible. And it's odd because it's a small stop sign with some writing. I know that's in the manual, but
Well, so I used to say that traffic safety is about 90% psychology. But I was because I get bored, I was watching a YouTube video on traffic safety over the weekend, and I heard someone refer to driving as an unconscious activity, because you just everything when you see white like that, you kind of you just don't notice it. So making things more noticeable, making drivers less comfortable in their surroundings tends to actually make them more attentive.
they're more
Right.
aware. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I like that, make them less, we actually, Robert, I do see that there are a couple of people with their hands raised, Mr. Good and Ms. Page. I don't know what items they're here about. Would you like to allow them to speak now, or do you want to try and make it through more of the agenda? You're muted.
What they have to say.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Let's hear what they have to say.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Good, if you could unmute yourself.
Hi, it's actually Elizabeth Good, his wife.
Okay, Mrs. Good, I'm
And
sorry.
Laura is the other person who also had her hand raised, and we're on the board of the Marinex Community Nursery School. So we're here to talk to the subject that you're speaking on. And I absolutely hear what you're saying about a stop sign may not be relevant there. The concern that we have is the nursery school used to only have about half as many students as it now holds today. We have 145 kids that range from 16 months old to 5. And they are actually at the school 11 months out of the year. And they're there from 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. And there are parents that come half day that walk their kids across the street there. And at this point, since I've been at the school, which has been 3 years, we've witnessed personally 2 near accidents where a car will stop because our families that use the school understand that you need to stop there, and a car will be stopped, but another car may get annoyed and think that that car is double parked, not knowing that the crosswalk is right there, and tries to scoot around the crosswalk. And we've witnessed a few near accidents where families have had to like run out of the way because a car is coming there. So we are just looking to you as to what can be done. You know, maybe it is the yellow sign, maybe we could put a stop sign on the corner there, anything to sort of slow down traffic, because especially eventually, once the Tompkins Bridge is repaired, a lot of people use that Tompkins Avenue as a kind of cut through to get around traffic on Boston Post Road, and they drive rather quickly there. So just as concerned parents, we're looking to you guys to say, before there is an actual accident, what can we do here to make this as safe as possible for the students at the school? So thank you.
Can I offer another suggestion? I think it was last year. So I'm going to share my screen again. And I think this is. So you'll like this, I promise. And this is something we can probably take a look at as well. Tompkins Avenue by Union used to look like this. There were concerns about speeding and turning movements from Union down to Tompkins. So you'll see in 2018, this is what it looked like. In October 2021, we had added these hashed markings. What it did, I talk about, making drivers uncomfortable. These pavement markings, artificially decrease the width of the roadway, thereby slowing down drivers. So, that's another item we can look at, is creating some sort of hatched pattern in this area. And maybe that might be something which would make the drivers more attentive of their surroundings. You could augment that with additional signage.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's found what we did at Tompkins to be very effective. Is that something the traffic commission would like me to look into?
Yes, that would be good.
I think that sounds like
sure.
a good idea, Daniel.
Yeah, absolutely, Daniel. Yes.
You can call me The only person who calls me Daniel is my mother when I was a kid, and when she was mad at me.
No, I like what you said about making the drivers thinking twice and uncomfortable. That's the way to go. It's a good. You watched a great video over the weekend.
Robert, you're a little low again.
Dan, what's the next step here?
I'm going to speak to our traffic engineer about continuing that hatched marking approach. And I'll look at what type of signage we can do.
Does Ms. Good have any comment?
I don't know if you heard that, Mrs. Good, but do you have any comments?
Mine's still on? That's
Yeah.
great. Thank you. So do we need to follow up with you directly, or should we join in for the next meeting?
Let me give you my email address, and then I'll email you with my contact information. I don't want to give everyone my private desk number or my cell phone number. So my email is the letter D, like Daniel, and then my last name, SAR, or Sam Apple Robert, NO Nicholas Oscar, FF Frank D Sarnoff at V like Victor, O like Oscar, M like Mary, N like Nicholas, Y.org, O-R-G.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there
sorry, I couldn't hear you, Robert.
Does anyone else have a raised hand?
No, they do not.
Next is North Barry stop sign. This
I
location-
think we need to hit number 9, Robert, the no parking restriction.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Parking restriction on the west side of Heathcote Avenue.
what I'm gonna try and do, I'm going to share the color pictures of this so the board can get a better look. Um, Okay. I had a chance to visit with our DPW acting general foreman and another person from DPW last week. They had asked about establishing some sort of parking restriction on Heathcote Avenue, north of Prospect Avenue. It's about a 24-foot wide road in some sections. As you can see from this picture, when two cars are parked next to each other, it's very difficult for our heavy equipment to pass, which includes sanitation vehicles and other heavy vehicles, which will also include fire apparatus. Right now, there is an existing restriction that provides for a parking restriction for 20 feet from this stop sign right here going north. What we're asking is to extend that for the entirety of basically the 505 Prospect side yard frontage, if that's a term. Where you can see though, actually, is the road actually decreases in width once you hit this property. It's probably 2 to 3, maybe 3.5 feet wider south of this. If you continue that, you see there's a much larger paved area. So we're asking for the parking restriction based from this white car is all the way to where this retaining wall is, which should provide adequate space for our vehicles to get through. Right now, if we can't get through there, basically what we have to do is go down to Prospect Avenue and go in reverse up this section of Heathcote Avenue to get done what we need to get done. So that's the village staff request. Are there any questions about that item?
I think that makes sense.
I think it makes sense as well. I live
Yeah,
at the
no.
corner of Heathcote and Monroe, so I'm familiar with that stretch of road pretty well. I know it well. So yeah, I agree. It gets real tight through there, and if it's going to help sanitation do their job and then fire department do theirs, I think that makes a lot of sense.
I agree also, and as someone who walks around the neighborhood, I'm around the corner from there as well, and you don't want to walk on the street if you don't have to. So I agree.
Okay. I can bring this to the board for their meetings next month. If there's a consensus on that. I just request that if you could take a vote on the recommendation so I could include that as part of the backup.
Do we need to make a motion or just vote on it?
Yes, if that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, so someone needs to make a motion, second it, then I'll call the roll of the attending members.
I make a motion to
Yes.
vote on this issue. Someone has to second.
A second.
Second.
So I will go in alphabetical order. Mr. Buck,
Yes.
Mr. Starr,
Yes.
Mr. Stark, You give a thumbs up. I couldn't hear you there. Okay, and Mr. Williams.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, next and last is North Barry stop sign. This location is North Barry and Brook Street. This was brought up earlier this year. The problem was children crossing the street. It was considered unsafe. There were cars speeding. People making a left or right turn from Brook onto North Barry. We proposed that 2 parking spaces be removed on North Barry to the left of Brook Street. We asked that the person who brought this to our attention get back to us that the majority of people at that location were in favor of removing 2 parking spaces. That person never got back to us. Therefore, we did not go forward and recommend removing 2 parking spaces. So that's still in this. So there are 2 issues. One is speeding. We determined that a stop sign is not appropriate. That's speeding. The other issue is turning from Brook onto North Barry safely. Any comments?
So Dan, I don't know if Matt would have to look at that in terms of a stop sign. You know, as you're aware, from East Post to North Barry, it's a very long stretch of road. It's only 25 miles an hour. But because it is such a long stretch, I think people do tend to gain speed. The traffic data did show some speeding on that street. So I don't know if it's feasible to put a stop sign there, but I would not be opposed to that.
But I think we also have a 15-mile-an-hour school speed limit as well.
So I believe as you get past from the 100 to the 200-300 block, be that area there.
Yeah, I
I
know
have
the
to double
extent-
check.
Yeah, I thought it was the, if not the entire block from Halsted to East Boston Post Road. It was a significant portion of it. Because I recall that we had looked at the law because since the school owns property on the North Barry Avenue side,
Yes.
we were able to do that. Had the school not owned that section, that piece of property, could not have done it. I do see that there is an attendee who does have their hand raised. Would you like me to allow the person to speak now, Mr. Stark, or does the board want to continue its discussion?
Needs to let him speak.
Okay. You can, okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Timothy Grant. Thank you for having me tonight. And Mr. Stark did summarize the background here. I see that it's listed under new items, but he's correct. It has been on the agenda since the beginning of the year. And as he summarized, you know, I proposed this with the support of many neighbors for 3 reasons: the speeding on our block of North Barry, the failure of drivers to recognize the crosswalk that's at the intersection of North Barry and Brook Street, and also the difficulty of making a left or right-hand turn when you're on Brook to turn onto North Barry, because the parked cars obscure the view of drivers on Brook Street, such that the cars have to inch out to an uncomfortable degree into oncoming traffic to see past those parked cars. And Mr. Stark was correct that there wasn't at that time much appetite for a stop sign. So the committee asked me to check with my neighbors to see if there was the support or opposition to removing the two parking spaces to the left if you're on Brook Street, so as to better allow drivers to see the oncoming traffic coming down Northbury Avenue. So I'm sorry, I did miss the July meeting, and I'm not aware that this committee has met since then. So apologies for that, but I did check with as many neighbors as possible, and I encountered no opposition to that proposal. Everyone was supportive of eliminating those two parking spots to allow better visibility. But I must say there was, plenty of support on the block for going beyond that, and for the initial proposal of two stop signs at that crosswalk. And I think that's because, while helpful, certainly eliminating those two parking spots doesn't help with the speeding and the lack of respect for pedestrians at that crosswalk. And I really empathized with what the nursery school was saying, because on our block, we have signage out the wazoo. As Dan noted, it is a school zone. There's a school speed limit. There are signs instructing drivers to yield to pedestrians at that crosswalk, but the cars just don't respect it. They haven't respected those signs for many years. And I also concurred with the suggestion that, driving is an unconscious activity, and you need to make it psychologically uncomfortable for drivers. And there is something about that, red octagon that registers with drivers in a way that these other signs just don't. And even if that only reduces the speed for a portion in the middle of our very long block, I think a lot of neighbors would deem that helpful. When we were kicking around ideas amongst the neighbors, we also thought of the idea of putting a speed bump in the middle of the block, the way you're seeing more and more in the city. But we had been told that that would cause some problems with the fire trucks in the village. So that was ruled out. So the feedback was no opposition to removing those parking spots, but certainly an appetite to go a bit further and to deal specifically with the speeding and making that crosswalk safer. There is a crossing guard during the school hours, which certainly helps. But the school's only in session so many months of the year, and the issues are present really 365 days a year.
Mr. Grant, I think one of the other items that was mentioned was just, like you said, being able to see what's coming out of on Northbury Avenue when you're making a turning movement off of Brook.
Correct.
I want to share something with where I think we had a similar kind of situation on Tompkins Avenue, again, near the school, where that school we're talking about, and with a house that had some pretty high shrubs, and what type of difference it makes when you can open up that peripheral view for the drivers. So if everyone takes a look, this is Tompkins Avenue, but you can pretty much recognize this is the Tompkins Beach intersection. This is from, I guess it says 2016 up here, but 2013 down here. Here's what it looked like, because we told people to clean up their hedges, and here's what it looked like in 2018. You can see, much greater peripheral vision. So I don't know if that's an issue over on Brook that we should also take a look at.
Off the top of my head, I believe there are also hedges at that corner. So yeah, that could help.
Yeah, I can send code enforcement out, take a look at that. See if it's an issue, if we can get, if we can get that taken care of. It might be a bit of a one tool in the toolbox to try and address what needs to be addressed out there.
What's our next step here? Are we considering a stop sign? Are we considering a stop sign? Are we considering removing parking spaces?
Well, another item, I know that we are going to be talking about speed humps with the board at their, we're supposed to talk about it. It was on the agenda for Monday night. We didn't get to that item, so the item of speed humps will be on the board's agenda again for their work session meeting on January 10th. But from what I heard from Mr. Grant, there is support for removal of those 2 parking spaces.
That's correct.
What was it, one on each side or 2 parking spaces on one side?
The initial suggestion, as I understood it, was if you're on Brook Street, the 2 parking spots on your left if you're attempting to turn onto North Berry.
That's correct.
Okay.
We had a similar parking issue where we needed to find out what the
Michael, aren't you gonna eat dinner?
what a particular street, whether people were in favor of making certain changes. And that became rather controversial. There are 2 sides to that story. I will present one side, someone else can present another side. But before we vote or make a decision about removing parking spaces, I want everyone to understand that previous controversial issue. Because of the difficulty hearing me, I'm going to hold off on explaining that. Perhaps I'll send an email to the rest of you to get information about that. I think it's important going forward that whenever we have a case where a change is requested by somebody at a particular location, we want to be sure that we are doing it for a majority and in the best interest of the people at that location. At this point, we just have Mr. Grant telling us that, and I'm sure he's correct, but I just want to get information from people on the street that we are doing the right thing for everybody, or for a majority of those people. So I request that we hold off on voting about removing parking spaces at this time and consider it perhaps at our next meeting.
We could also, if you want, I could maybe prepare a correspondence from the commission to the property owner, advising him that this is under consideration. I guess it would be the.
Because what happened in the past is that we only hear from a few select residents at a particular issue or location. And it's important that we reach out to everybody who's involved or affected before we go forward and make a final decision that will affect them if they have not asked their opinion.
Yeah, we want to make improvements that are at least consider Pareto. I think that also we have a couple other questions that are going to come, or at least one other question that's going to come up in the future Board of Trustees meeting, and that's this issue of speed bumps. Daniel, did I understand that's going to be a discussion? And
Yeah,
if that's something that Tim Grant's street community is interested in. Maybe, there's a few arrows in the quiver, then you would have potential for speed bumps if it's discussed, right, and agreed upon. You have an opportunity for stop sign request, and then the parking space removal, right? So without knowing what three options are really available to us at the moment, I agree with Robert that we should hold off, and we also need to make sure that Robert's able to really explicate his his position on this, right? Of the parking space removal.
At the very least, though, I'd like to talk to our code enforcement office about checking that out, see if it should be, if the trees are in excess of what is allowed in the, or the bushes are higher than what's allowed. That's an administrator I'd like to take care of first, though.
If I may chime in, you know, I certainly support the committee's decision to make efforts to consult as widely as possible. I'm only one person. I did the best I could, but certainly, you know, you have additional powers and contact information at your disposal. So I certainly endorse those efforts. On the stop sign, the other point I failed to mention, and something that our neighbors noted, so I hope the committee does continue to think about stop signs, is there are many other neighboring streets similarly long, like North Barry, stretching from East Boston Post Road to Halsted Avenue, Melbourne Beach, Carroll, Wagner, Frank, and they all have stop signs in the middle of those streets, slowing traffic in the middle of those long blocks. So as we look around at our neighbors, we were just wondering why our street is treated any differently. So that was another reason we felt a stop sign would be appropriate on our street, just as it is on our neighboring streets. And I think there were comment letters submitted in support of that. I don't have all of my neighbors' correspondence, but I was told that a number of them sent emails to that effect.
Yeah, I think a lot of those are attached to this agenda, but I can attest that I received a number of correspondence and emails.
Robert, I don't think we can hear you.
I can't hear it all, Robert.
It's frustrating, I know.
Better now?
A little bit.
Now I don't think we can hear
No.
Yeah.
I give up. I don't know.
Right there. Don't move. Just keep talking.
I just think if you take the headphones off, it'll work better.
I tried that. I would try it again.
Just put the volume up on your iPad or your phone.
It's maximum volume. Maybe a lousy tablet. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Not anymore.
No, Robert, it cut out again. I'm not sure. We hear you when you do your mic check, and then when you start talking, it just disappears.
Well, if we have a quorum, why can't he just call on the phone? Why can't Robert just call on the phone?
We had tried that, but there were similar issues.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Does somebody else want to continue for me?
Well, if you want, you could call me on my phone, and we could just mic it up like that.
What's your number?
It's 917-582-2668. Just please mute your microphone though on your tablet, if you can mute yourself.
I just muted him.
917-582-2668. Okay.
First, I apologize to everybody.
You can hear me? Can other people hear me?
Yep.
Yes. So, Dan, in terms of North Barry and Brook, Dan will send out letters to people affected by the removal of parking to get responses to ensure that we are doing what a majority of those folks want. Is that correct?
I was going to send it by, to the property owners directly adjacent to the area you're proposing, which I believe is only 1 or 2 homes.
Okay. I'm going to repeat what I said earlier about a controversy at our last meeting was in July. There was an issue raised on changing parking at Prospect Avenue. There was a meeting of the Board of Trustees on August 9th, at which I spoke not as a representative of the traffic committee, but for myself, about an issue on Prospect Avenue parking that I thought was wrong. You're all welcome to listen to the LMC recording of the Board of Trustees regular meeting, Communications to the Board 1. It lasts about a half hour. I spoke and explained what happened at that meeting on July 9th. Afterwards, half a dozen people from Prospect Avenue spoke and told the board that they had no idea that a change in parking was requested by 1 or 2 people on that street. It became very controversial. And this has to do with my decision about the parking on North Barry. It's important that anybody who is affected by a change have an opportunity to express their opinion as to what should or should not happen at that location. I wish I had more time to explain this, but I think if you listen to that Board of Trustees meeting where I spoke and 5 people after me spoke, you'll have a sense of what I'm talking about. I was very upset and disappointed the way the traffic committee and the Board of Trustees, how they handled that. I don't want to come across as I'm pointing fingers at anybody, but I think it's very important that we understand that this cannot happen again. Anybody wants to look at it and call me and have a discussion, be very happy to do that. I'm looking forward to when we can meet in person. I think we'll get much more accomplished. This was a very sucky meeting, I have to say, and it's my fault. I've always had problems communicating. I bought a new computer, hopefully that I could resolve this. That didn't work. My apologies. Going forward, if I can't resolve my my communication during these remote meetings, somebody else needs to step up. It's not difficult. All you have to do is go down the agenda, allow people to speak. I think we'll be much better off. I appreciate your patience and understanding during this very unpleasant and frustrating experience for me. I thank you very much. And I appreciate everyone's attention, that everyone seemed to focus on doing what's reasonable and doing what's necessary to resolve these issues that our neighbors are experiencing. That's all I have to say. Thank you. One other thing. The last item that we deal with at these meetings is the minutes from our previous meeting. Our previous meeting was July 9th. That was the meeting where I was describing things did not go well. There was a particular item on the minutes regarding Prospect Avenue. You're welcome to look at it. If you listen to what I had to say at the Board of Trustees meeting, you'll understand. At this time, I am the only holdover from that meeting. I don't know. Usually there's a draft of the minutes. At the next meeting, there's a discussion to approve the minutes. I have things that I want to add to our meetings for tonight's meeting that affect what occurred in July. I am not prepared to go into that right now, so I'm going to table the approval of our July minutes until our next meeting, if that's okay with everyone. I don't think there are any consequences for that. It will be okay. Anybody have any questions for me? I'd be happy to answer them.
Robert, would you be able to make your addendums available to us prior to the next meeting?
What addendums are you talking about?
Oh, I thought that you wanted, maybe I misunderstood that it was going to be necessary, that you wanted to do some updating of the July 9th minutes.
Okay, I cannot change the minutes from July. They are either approved. I can't change what occurred. If you listen to my comments at the August 9th Board of Trust meeting, you'll understand what I want to do. I think we were given misinformation that enabled us to vote on something that we should not have voted on, because we were given information from just a few residents and didn't hear from the vast majority of the residents at that location, who it turned out completely disagreed with the 2 or 3 residents that were advocating for this change. I know it's may be difficult for you to follow, but if you listen to my comments, the August 9th Board of Trustees regular meeting, starting with communications to the Ward 1, you'll hear what I said, and you'll hear 5 or 6 other people from that location voicing their opinion as well. And I think you will then understand. And if you wish to discuss that or ask me questions about it, I'll be happy to answer it, but I think you will understand.
I'll listen to it, but are you proposing that we reverse the decision made in August or July?
So what happened was,
because if it happened already, I don't know if we could go back and reverse the
answer that question.
decision.
It's a moot point. What happened was the board voted to change parking from one side of the street to the other. The Board of Trustees then took that vote from our draft minutes and proceeded to act on it to try to make it a law to change the parking from one side of the street to the other. The board then heard from the vast majority of the people at that street that they were not made aware that this was a possibility, and they were completely against it. The board met at a recent trustee meeting where they discussed it and decided that it was too controversial. It was creating a problem among the residents, and so they dropped it. So there's nothing that we need to do to fix the motion that we passed, because that action has been terminated. The reason I want you to know about this is that when situations come up again where we are asked to do something, we need to be sure that we're doing it because the residents want it and not some special interest, or I won't go into it. I hope everybody understands what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
This is Tim Grant, the resident on North Berry. I just to support, what Robert is proposing. I will just volunteer that I myself thought it was a bit strange when I was asked to solicit feedback from my neighbors on the proposal to eliminate 2 parking spots, just because, as I said, I'm only one person. I did the best I can. I can only, contact people to the best of my ability, and I don't have, the tools at the village's disposal, such as everyone's name and address to send them a letter to alert them to the proposal. So, going forward, I would support what Robert is saying, that more efforts need to be taken to really make sure everyone is consulted before moving forward on these decisions. Just speaking from my own experience. I also just wanted to make sure there were no further questions on North Berry Avenue before I left the call.
I just have a quick question, Tim. So
Sure.
how much foot traffic is there outside the hours of when the crossing guard is? I mean, it's a hard question to answer, but
there's a lot because there are a lot of children in the neighborhood, and the school, F.E. Bellows Elementary, runs an aftercare program. So lots of children are there until 6 p.m. and the crossing guard only stays within a small window of time when school dismisses, but that's not actually when the aftercare program dismisses. And additionally, of course, the ice cream shop on the other corner of our block generates a lot of foot traffic.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you everyone for considering this issue. I do appreciate it.
I'm not sure. This is my first time chairing this. I've only been on this committee for a limited time. We only met 7 or 8 times last year. I'm not sure what else is left to do for this meeting. Just going forward, what will happen is people will write directly to the traffic committee with issues. Kelly usually responds to them saying, thank you for your information. We will follow up. And those are usually copied to all of us. An agenda is prepared by someone in the village to get her name. And we usually receive that about a week or so before. But if something comes up where any of us wish to have a particular issue or traffic location discussed, you're free to request that it be added to the agenda. I'm not sure the name of the person at the village who prepares the village, but I'll be able to get that to you, and we want to include Kelly in our emails. She is our liaison between the Board of Trustees and the village, and she provides a link between people who have issues and the traffic committee. Each committee had an email that included all of the members of the committee. The committee has been completely revamped except for me. There was a Board of Traffic of the Village of Marinex email address. I don't know whether that's in effect now or whether they'll have to continue using your individual email addresses. There was talk about having everyone on a village committee assigned a village email address. The reason for that is that if there is any litigation and you've used your personal email address, we don't want to have people's personal email addresses subpoenaed or brought into litigation. That was the reason for having committee members have a village email address. The village is still working on that. They've been working on it for a while. It appears it'll be some time before that's in effect. Anybody have any questions about anything they want to ask me before we close the meeting?
Robert, I just want to say, I know you think it was a sucky meeting, but for my first time on the commission, I thought it was very informative and productive. So I think you did a great job. We, got through a lot of the items. So I just wanted to say that.
Agreed. Thank you, Robert, for your leadership.
here.
on that.
Hopefully we'll meet in person. I think things will be a lot smoother. This was clearly difficult, certainly on my end. I think you all were extremely great in helping move this forward, and I appreciate it and look forward to working with all of you.
I have one quick question. Tim, well, it doesn't matter if Tim's on or not. I spoke to a former member of the committee or commission, and she said that we're not allowed to put bike lanes on the streets because we're not a city. So Dan, can you comment on that before we sign off?
That's a question for Dan.
We can pick it up next time, but just real quickly.
Yeah, I'll check on that. I mean, I know we talked about things like sharrows. So I don't know if everyone has had a chance to drive on Fenimore Road in the town of Mamaroneck recently, but you'll see these pavement markings. It's a person on a bicycle with, I think, a set of 3 chevrons below it.
Okay.
It's not a bike lane, but it's a shared roadway.
Like okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really those are pretty. Are those pretty new?
Yeah, so Con Ed had to repave a huge section of Fenimore Road because they had done a tremendous gas upgrade that went through Scarsdale, Town of Mamaroneck, Village of Mamaroneck, all the way to the city of Rye. And they repaved Mamaroneck Avenue, Fenimore Road. And when the town of Mamaroneck, after it was repaved there, they had the sharrows painted. So I think it's probably within the last year that they've had those, maybe 18 months. I invite you, if you have some leisurely time, take a quick ride over to Fenimore, and then you can take a look at that.
Unless there are more comments or anyone wishes to bring up a subject, I think we're ready to close the meeting. Can I have someone make a motion to close the meeting?
I make a motion to close the meeting for tonight.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, Dan, do you want to officiate the motion?
There's no roll call required. All I have to do is just say.
I don't really know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll just say all in favor.
All in favor?
All in favor.
Just say aye or nay.
Okay, going forward, if anyone wants to contact me individually, feel free to call me by phone or by email. I'll be very happy. The problem is we can't have a conversation with 3 or more people because that would constitute a meeting. But I look forward to getting to know all of you and that we all can work together cohesively to do our best for the village residents. So I guess
Thank you, Robert.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Nice to see.
Have a nice
all of you.
evening.
Night.
Yeah,
Bye,
now.
everybody.
You don't have to-
Bye.